Welcome to MsiTuesday here at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. I'm Jason, and special guest Bob Chastain, our president, is here joining us today, as well as Amy back there with, of course, Msitu. And if you guys haven't noticed yet, we're not showing you a smaller giraffe, so Msitu is still pregnant. We are here to update you on how that's going for her, as well as our guessing contest. This will be Msitu's third calf. So in 2013, she had Emmy, and then in 2017, she had Ray. And so this next calf will be her third calf here at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, and we are excitedly awaiting that to happen any day now. As you guys might have seen last week, we had World Giraffe Day on the 21st. That's when I had my guess. I unfortunately was incorrect on that one, and so Bob's going to talk about his guess, which is still in the running in our contest with guessing that date.
Yeah. You can see as we're a little distracted here, we're about getting ready to get run over by a large tortoise. And so we're not sure. If the camera goes down, you'll know why. Don't be too alarmed. But as Jason and I said, Jason is in blue and I'm in pink. We're still racing for the finish line here. Did want to make a comment that we're somewhere in here. This whole group is out of the running as far as I'm concerned. Ginny did remind me though, it is the closest, it's not Price is Right rules, so technically if this calf is born really close to now, Jason might be right, which would disappoint me. But I'm still here in July the 4th, I'm leaving that date. Honestly, I'm still wondering if she's pregnant, so I'm holding off on that. And then as a reminder, the way the system does work is all the way up until 48 hours from her birth, you can change your date and the time. You don't need to wait. If your date is past, you can move that forward. If your date is way in the future like mine, if I get more information, I can move that closer towards the birth date. As you can see, we do have a couple people here on the 2nd of July. They've done some scientific calculations that would say that is going to be the date. So I'm still going to hold right here, Jason. I think you're going to move, though, because you've seen the writing on the wall.
Yeah, I'm going to move mine, actually, guys. I'm going to make my prediction right now. I still want it to be a June baby, so I'm going to go right here on the 28th. We'll see what happens. It's just in a few days, but we'll see if it's July or June. So I'm going to slide mine down on there a little bit. We'll see if anybody else in the rest of today wants to adjust theirs or not, but that's where we're kind of at for today. We also wanted to give you guys update some questions that we've been getting on the website, and so I've got a few of those listed here, and we want to take a few moments just to answer those. So one that we've been getting quite a bit has been, what happens if she goes into labor and gives birth in the giraffe yard? So we've had a couple giraffes start their labor where we actually saw the hooves coming out, so it's definitely labor in progress out in the main exhibit, and these guys are definitely so well trained that they actually want to come in as soon as that drawbridge comes up or go find the keeper staff. So we've been able to move our giraffe in as they started that process and get them on the sand stall pretty easily. So that's still our strategy for if they start giving birth. We're definitely having our guest services pay close attention to them. We have lots of you guys on grounds every day, keeping an eye on them for us as well. And of course, we're doing our checks all the time as well. So we feel like we would be able to bring her in just like we would normally want her to give birth on that sand stall. The second question is, have you noticed any patterns regarding the most frequent time of day or night when the calves are born? There's really not a specific pattern for giraffes that we've noticed, especially with the last several years. And so it could be any time. It could be the middle of the night. It could be right when we get here. It could be during the day. It could be in the next 2 minutes. We don't actually know. I don't think it'll be in the next 2 minutes, but there's just not a clear pattern. So that's why, again, we have her on birth watch 24/7, and we're continuing to monitor every hour overnight and just make sure that we can capture that when it starts happening. So Amy, this one's she might be, Bob thinks that she might be having it now. So you guys can see how round her belly is. She's definitely really close. So any moment it could happen, or in the next week towards July 4th when Bob has guessed as well, might be the right date. Amy, this question's for you. What are some of the behaviors you've seen with Msitu and other giraffe immediately before labor?
Ooh, good question. So the last couple of times with Msitu, what we've noticed with her, about 2 weeks out, she'll stop wanting to shift as easily. So she'll start kind of doing a doorway dance, where she'll half poke her head in and half poke her head out. She did start doing that a couple of weeks ago, so some days she's shifting in really great, and then other days she's doing the doorway dance, which kind of tells us that she's getting a little bit closer. Another one of the behaviors that we've seen her do is just lick a little bit more at her sides. So we have seen her doing that a little bit more as well. And her nostrils have been flared on and off. With Muziki, the only thing that we noticed was her nostrils get bigger one day. So Msitu's got a few more little behaviors that let us know, where Msitu was kind of a hard guess for me.
For sure. There's definitely not just one easy behavior that we're looking for.
She also holds up the American flag, right, for 4th of July?
Well, she does like to celebrate like many of us do. So it could be that 4th of July baby with a flag. We'll see what happens. And then the next question, Amy, was have you ever seen a giraffe go into labor while lying down or eating?
I personally haven't. I'm sure other facilities or other zoos have, but here at our zoo, most of the time they're standing up, and we usually know you'll start to see them stand a little bit further apart, have their tail go straight out, and sometimes they'll put their head down. So those are the things that happen usually during birth. We don't typically see them eating or laying down during birth.
And then a couple more questions. I'll take this one. How long does labor usually take? So once we see the hooves or the water break, then it's usually within 1 to 3 hours. Usually in that 1 to 2 is more average for us, but it's fairly quick once the whole process really starts for real. And so you might have seen us give some updates or tips, like, that we see some contractions or just some other behavior that might make us think that. But really until we see that water break and those hooves start coming out, that's when we really know that she's in active labor. And that's a pretty quick process, 1 to 2 hours on average. And then we'll take one more question here. Amy, this one's for you.
Sure.
Are there any other indicators that can indicate Msitu's really close?
Yeah, and we've seen both of them so far. Sorry, I had to call Diana over real quick because Msitu is making her way down the outdoor training space right now. We'll see if we can get her back over. She loves crackers still, so that's good. But yeah, her udders have gotten really big. So we started taking a couple of pictures last week, and last week we saw that she did get those waxy tips, at least on her back 2 teats. And then that was last Wednesday. And then yesterday I called Jason on the radio because I said her udder is bagging up. So I think we're getting closer. All the signs are telling us that we're getting closer every day. I still don't have a real good guess other than July 2nd of when that baby is going to come. But every single day we see something else that makes us believe that she's a little bit closer, which it happens every day anyway, so that's good.
That's really great. So those are the questions that we've gotten quite a bit from you guys, and we wanted to fill you in with our thoughts on that. We do want to thank you for joining us for MsiTuesday. We'll be back in a week, or maybe sooner. Maybe it'll be around the 28th, my new guess, but we'll see what happens. She's definitely getting closer as we go. Please be sure and put your guess in at cmzoo.org/guess, and then you can certainly follow her on the giraffe cam, birth cam overnight at cmzoo.org/birthcam. We'll be happy to join you guys when that calf comes, or next Tuesday, whichever comes first. Thanks, guys.
See you later.